Rama Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Jnantimirandasya Jnananjanashadakya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to serve Guru and Gauranga on this such an auspicious day. So here we are on an auspicious day of Navami. We are all gathered here, and those of you who don't know, the picture is of Sri Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So, so Sri Prabhupada, founder Acharya, because whom we all are here gathered here, he said that we all have our own definitions of riches, but he mentioned that Krishna, Krishna's service, and love of Krishna are the three greatest riches of life. Now, to arrive at such a conclusion, we have to go back to his background of his immense knowledge which he had, but he has simplified in such three simple words. So, it may take us quite some time to arrive at this conclusion, but he has already summed it up for us. So, if you are wise enough, we'll straight away focus on this and meditate on this and perfect our lives faster. But even otherwise, even if you refuse it now, sooner or later, when we come to the realization and knowledge by Krishna's mercy, we'll come to the same conclusion. And once again, I thank you all to be here. The past time was when Parishad Maharaj, the last of the Pandavas dynasty, was there, and he was cursed already by Shringi, a Brahmin son, to die within 7 days by the serpent king Taksha. So at that time, he realized that what is it that I can do within 7 days? And if we are told that it's as a bliss that Krishna does not let us know when we are going to die, because the minute a person comes to know he's about to die, consciousness changes and everything is rooted on fear. But here we see the exemplary example of Parikshit Maharaj. Now you may wonder why he was so great. You can understand that within 7 days he wanted to perfect his time. Even if we are fearful, we are still getting hungry, we are still answering Mother Nature's call, and we are still having so many thoughts. We might be thinking of writing our will, what to do within those 7 days, what is time given to us on all material mundane activities. But in his case, he realized that he'll go to the most qualified teacher at that time, it was Shukdev Goswami. So that time he mentioned, I'm very happy that you are asking me this. Like water of Ganges. Incidentally, River Ganges is the only river in the world whose water never rots. It's not affected by the curse of Indra, Indra's pastime. So in any case, so in that case, so those who hear about the activities, those who ask, and who are just listening, and the person who's talking, they all get purified. So it's a process of purification. In fact, our process of Vaishnava culture is process of purification by mercy of Krishna. So there are many questions that come to our mind. In fact, I was talking to one of my friends I met in Navami, and he was asking me, I said, so are you coming to the temple on Ram Navami? He said, but you are a Krishna temple. Why are you talking about Ram? I was a bit surprised. Of course, he's not from India, but he was asking. So I said, why do you say that? He said, because one day I went to temple and I just asked, I met there somebody and I said, Jai Shri Ram. And they were looking very strangely as if I've done something very strange. So I said, well, that's not the case. But his question made me realize that I have to answer from that angle also. So in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, it is mentioned that when prayed by demigods, because demigods knew that Ravan was getting more and more powerful and he needs to be taken care of. They went to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. So that time he decided to descend as four personalities: Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. like his expansion and expansions of the expansion. So he came in four forms. It is the only person where he comes in four forms simultaneously. Now, to an ordinary person, it may appear a bit strange that how can one person come in four personalities? But for God, nothing is impossible. All of us are there. So many people are sitting here in this room. We are all expansions of Krishna in different forms. So all these forms appeared in Maharaj Dasharatha's son's forms. And Lord Brahma, who is the creator of this universe under the guidance of Krishna, he himself mentions those who come to temple in the mornings, you'll remember the Ramati Murti Shukala Neme Natishthana. So we are talking about Brahma Samhita all in the morning. So what it talks about is that Lord Brahma, it's not some human being, but Lord Brahma, who is the creator of all of us. He's saying, I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna, and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Ram, Nrsimha, Vaman, etc., as his subjective portions. So Ram, again, he's uttering the first name. Now we may say that is there any difference? Well, Ram is the Sarvottam avatar or Maryada Purushottam avatar who has come here in his human form to set as an example for us to follow. So this Ram is basically Krishna himself, who is directly descending from Golok Vrindavan. And when he is coming here, when we are even talking about him, thinking about him, seeing about him, or serving him, basically we are associating with Lord Ramchandra. So there is no difference between his forms or activities. It is one the same. Now you might have heard the same thing about Krishna, of course. What is applicable to Krishna is applicable here also, because we are talking about his avatar only. So this association, the minute we see, or if you see any image or the any way which way you are associating with Lord Ram, you are basically associating with Supreme Personal Godhead. And especially on the days when we have any appearance or disappearance of some great personality or some avatar, or Krishna himself, or any of his associates. So we are actually associating by way of our activities, and we are purifying our consciousness. These are not my words, but it was Sri Prabhupada's words which he uttered way back in March 27, 69 in Hawaii. There is a question most of us have, especially those who are coming from India, that when we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So Krishna I understood, but what is Ram? Because you say your temple is ISKCON, Krishna consciousness. But Ram, when you say Ram, what do you mean? Is it Balram or Lord Ram? So Sri Prabhupada himself explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he has explained that both are Vishnu Tattva. So there is no difference. If you think Lord Ram and you are praying to Vishnu Tattva, or you are thinking is Lord Balram, Krishna's brother, then too you are right. So basically there is no need to haggle over such small issues. And Ram is also God and Krishna is also God. Ram basically means who enjoys and Krishna who attracts. So basically if you realize on a subtle form, it's the name of Krishna's only. So it doesn't matter whether you are thinking about Ram or Balram, basically you are talking about Vishnu Tattva. So why do we think Lord Ramchandra as the Maryada Purushottam, or as in management terms, you would say he's the gold standard. You can compare anybody, like if Lord Ramchandra is 100%, so how we stand in front of him in terms of qualities. So if he's 100%, so he's the gold standard. So what are the qualities? There's some of the qualities which I have taken from Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, if you are talking about other literatures, you will find many more qualities, but there's some of the ones. One was valor or the bravery. He was just a small child, as Lord Dasharatha explains in Valmiki Ramayana, when Maharshi Vishwamitra, who was a great rishi, he came and he said, actually, I want to perform some yagyas and havans, but I'm being troubled by some demons, so I would appreciate if you could give me your sons, Ram and Lakshman, those who could come with me and help me, so that other sages will also be benefited and they will also and I'll teach them. And the minute this thing happened, in Bhagavatam it's mentioned, Lord Dasharatha was totally shocked. He said that, well, about powerful forces. So let me come with the entire army. I'll come. I don't mind. Even if I get killed, no problems. But my sons, they're too small. They're small children. How will they come and fight? But then Vishwamitra said, no, it's you don't understand your own child. He said, even if my son is Param Vishnu himself, but still, how can I let go? He's my son. I'm his father. So he said, no, you are not understanding. Basically, I am doing this to glorify him. He has come to this earth for this purpose only. So you please allow me to take him. And when he took to there, they killed many demons. And it is said that the demons become more powerful when it's night time. In fact, all the black magic, all black arts are practiced during the night time. So that time, Rama and Lakshman killed all these asurs, and then they were given many celestial weapons and secret knowledge which Vishwamitra gave to them, which benefited them. And immediately after they had served their purpose, they were going back. They were heading back to their kingdom. But at the same time, then Vishwamitra said, "Let's go. I want to show you one more place." And he took them to Mithila. Their Lord Janak was there, and he said that there is a bow. Since we know about Lord Shiva, I'll show you his bow. He just took them there, Ram and Lakshman, and he showed them the bow. And the story of this bow was that Maharaj Dasharatha was very clear that he wanted to marry his daughter to a person who is, if not better, at least should be equal in strength and qualities to his daughter Sita. Because it so happens that this bow was so heavy of Lord Shiva's bow that it took many people just to move it from one place to another place. And one day, while Mother Sita was playing as a small child, she just picked it up from one hand and put it elsewhere, and then she went on playing. And Maharaj Dasharatha was shocked. Maharaj Janak was shocked to see how powerful his daughter is. So that time he had vowed. So when Lord Ram came, in fact, it is mentioned that even Ravana tried to lift that vow, but he couldn't. It was so heavy. So Lord Ram just came in when Vishwamitra said that okay, because at that time he was his guru. So he said, okay, he looked at him. He said, yeah, just try to lift it if you can. So just casually picked it up, and everybody was shocked. And when he tried to put the string or pratyancha as it's called, or string to that bow, it just snapped and it broke. The minute it broke over, so Parshuram, who is one of the Dashavatars, he came to know from the sound of itself that somebody has broken the bow, and he came very angrily because he knew that somebody has touched the bow, so mostly it will be Kshatriya, and he had his bad memories, and he had killed 21 times all the Kshatriyas which were on earth at that time. So he thought another Kshatriya has come here, so let me kill him also. So there was a vicious fight, and then he was humbled by Lord Ram, and then he came to understand that he is serving a purpose, and then he apologized. So valor is one of the qualities. Then obedient and renounced. Now, if our father has many wives and he has promised one of his wives and not my mother that okay, I'll allow what you want me to, and she says okay, your son has to go. Any son would feel very, very bad. But he did not do anything like that. Lord Ram just picked up his bow and arrows, and that was the thing which was his, and he left everything behind. And then his mother Sita and his brother Lakshman, he said, "No, we'll be with you." So they just left, just as plain hermits, and they just left the kingdom. So not only he wanted to honor his father's commitment to his mother, even though it was not justified, because next day he was to be coronated as king. He was already coronated as Yuvraj that time. But the minute he heard this, next day only they just left. And the vow was that he has to be away for 14 years because Kakai, the queen, thought that if he's here, people will not accept my son Bharat as the king. So he should go away, and for 14 years, their memory will be faded, and my son may be able to attract the masses, so he may remain king forever. So that was the scenario. But he just left. And one of the quality was is emotional. Now, some of us may look differently, but when Ravan kidnapped Mother Sita, that time Lord Ram and Lord Lakshman were going, and in Ramayana it is mentioned that he was crying like, and he was asking even flowers, birds, animals, everybody, have you seen my wife Sita? And he was crying like normal human beings who are lovesick. And most of us think that how come God is crying for Sita like that? But Here he is displaying that he is living the role of a human being, and that role he is living as 100% human being. So emotion is also part of the human being. So he's displaying that. But if you are considering that okay, this is a sort of weakness, but if it was that emotional in such emotional traumatic situation, we would not be able to go out and make alliances with other people, create an entire army and defeat Ravan. That won't be possible. So these are all the qualities. This is one of the qualities that he was at some time so powerful, but at the same time he was so sensitive also. And then he was respectful. When there's a pastime about a lady who was coming from the jungle, or you say tribes woman called Shabari. When she heard that Lord Ram, after doing his pastime, he's coming from, he'll be passing through his jungle when he's going towards Lanka. So maybe I'll get to serve him. So she went personally to, and she was very old lady, but she went to all the places to collect whatever white berries and she could collect. In Hindi, it is called bear. So then, when she collected all these fruits, so suddenly she thought that okay, if I'm offering him, and to God we offer what is dearest to us, we don't want to offer anything which is less than perfect. So she started tasting. So if any of the one is sour or it is not ripe yet, so she would throw it away, and only the sweet ones she was keeping. So when Lord Ram and Lakshman came in, Lord Lakshman is getting angry very easily. When he saw that a tribal woman is coming here and she's offering the fruits which she has tasted, he got very angry. He said, how dare she do that? And he was about to rebuke her when Lord Ram said, no, please don't do that. Because Lord Ram says that if you just even say, Ram, I'm yours, I become that person. So here he is finding a old lady lovingly giving him fruit, so he accepted that. And another pastime is where he killed Ravan. If you go through the pastimes, you realize that Ravan was creating havoc for. In fact, Lord Ram's birth was to end Ravan only because he was asked to help them. He was so demonic, and God has special quality that he always loves his devotees. And if any of us devotees are suffering, so all demigods, all the saints, every human being, whosoever is praying to God, they are all devotees of Ram. So Ram was definitely pained by all that, but that did not he did not take it personally. When Ravan was killed, he was still offering him the respects which he would give to any other living entity or non-living entity. So he was still respecting Ravan. So how many of us, if we know that all our miseries are and all over the our loved ones are suffering because of this person, and this person is killed, so how would we react? Lord Ram says that you have to still be compassionate and respectful even towards your own enemy. Then he's Bhakt Vatsal. Now, many of us who are coming from a background where we are coming from high family backgrounds, we will tend to get discriminatory at times. But there was this bird called Jatayu who was fighting and who was trying to save Mother Sita, not knowing that his Mother Sita is universal mother for all. But okay, lady is in trouble and there is a demon who is trying to kidnap. So he was very old, but still he was fighting and he did harass Ram quite a lot. But in the end, he was dying because Rama was still very vicious. So when Lord Ram saw Jatayu, he actually felt very sad about him and he started crying that for me he did so much and treating him like his own father. He performed his last rites. In fact, if you go to Nasik, there's a place where there's a small pond where water is coming, where the arrow which was shot by Lakshman to get Ganges, and that water Ram had fed personally to Jatayu. So that is there. So he was Bhakt Vatsal also. And he had patience. Now, if anyone has power and if somebody asks us to wait, we tend to get very impatient and very angry. But when he was going towards Lanka, and Lanka we know is surrounded by ocean, so he patiently waited for the god of ocean to give a way, and he waited for 3 days. When he still did not arrive, then he got upset that I think he's taking it very lightly, and then he just twanged the bow of his bow, and the sound was tumultuous. And then Ocean personified realized, okay, I have taken trouble with the wrong person. So immediately he came and said that, okay, I'm very sorry, I did not realize your identity, but you can easily go because everything is in your hands. But I would appreciate if you can build a bridge over me It's not for anything else. I'm not asking you to do something else, but it's to glorify your own personality, and your devotees will remember you by. So that's a wonderful activity. So I would appreciate if you could do that. That just brings us to another quality of omnipotence. Basically, God is all powerful. He can do everything. So this construction of bridge is one of the mere examples. But we may say, oh, it's a wonderful activity. It's not. The thing is that this bridge was constructed over water with stone. And if you come across a swimmer like me, who goes to water and the minute try to swim, he actually start going down. So they say that okay, he goes down like a stone. So that is the quality of stone. It sinks in water. But this bridge, which is known as Ram Setu, is existing. And in fact, we are seeing some pictures, satellite pictures taken by NASA, that this bridge is still there, connecting present day Sri Lanka and India from Rameshwaram side, if I'm not mistaken. So that bridge is still existing out there. And if you realize that they were just writing Ram on stones, and then stones were thrown into the water by Nal and Neel, and then they were becoming a bridge. So the wonderful thing is not that it was a bridge, but it is that this is basically a reminder that what Ram is capable of. It's just a reminder, physical reminder. So should we accept somebody as God? So this is one of the reasons. It reminds us of the previous pastime of Lord Krishna, which we all know, that he was just 7-year-old child when he took the entire Govardhan on the left hand's smallest finger. So I come from land of India, which is known for land of gods. Like anybody who can perform any miracle and declares himself God. But before we actually accept anybody as God, we should expect this type of miracles also. Of course, God, we will not ask for God, but if anybody who claims to be God, we should test that person. We should not just go by simple examples. Okay, he says God, so there's some husband, then that you got wristwatch or some flowers. That's not the case of gods. By the way, many of those gods are still lying in prison. So I'll come to this point now. When we think about Lord Ram, what is the name that next name that comes to our mind? I would like to hear some names.
Krishna.
Uh-huh. Anybody else?
Hanuman. Hanuman.
You say Dashrath Putra, you could say Kaushalya Putra, Mother Sita's husband, or you say Lakshman's brother who was in exile with him. He did not go, but brother Bharat, he said that he was eating only when Lord Ram heard that his brother, who was supposed to be crown prince or the king of the kingdom after Dashrath was gone, he was eating barley boiled in cow urine for 14 years, and he was sleeping in kusha or grass for 14 years in a cave, sorry, in a small hut which he was made outside the kingdom. And he was waiting that Lord Ram comes. When I see him after 14 years, then only then I'll go with him and he'll be the king, I'll not be the king, I'm his servant. And he had taken his Lord Ram's paduka or the shoes, wooden shoes, which Lord Ram was about to take, and he had kept his, okay, give me this, and he was treating that paduka as the kingdom, king of the kingdom, and he was praying to that. And he had mentioned, he had also vowed that if Lord Ram doesn't come on 14th year's last day, so I'll enter fire and I'll kill myself. So that was one of the reasons when after Dashera and with this Diwali, there is a 14-day gap. So Lord Ram knew that Bharat has vowed, so if I don't reach within that time, he will be committing suicide. He will be just leaving his body for me. So immediately he had to rush, and that's why Vibhishan gave this Pushpak Viman so that they could arrive fast to Bharat. Or Bhakt Hanuman, like Ram Bhakt Hanuman, we hear. And in fact, it is said that if you are Ram Bhakt, think about Hanuman, all your troubles will go away. And if you are Krishna Bhakt, well, also, in fact, Bhakt Hanuman is so powerful that there are only two personalities which come in Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga, Lord Ram's pastime and Lord Krishna's pastime. One is Jamva and another is Lord Hanuman. These are the only two activities. So, which of these names you would think comes to our mind? Well, what was the purpose of Lord Ram coming? Why was he adopted? In every story, there is a protagonist and antagonist. Protagonist is the hero, and in typical language, antagonist is the villain or the one who opposes hero. Lord Krishna says that whenever there is decline in religious practice or descent of Bharat and predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So Lord Ram actually came for Ravan, and everybody was his associate, helping him in his pastimes. Now this is an important verse by Sri Prabhupada who has given his translation. What it talks about, if you look at Ravan, he was so very powerful that demigods were scared of him and they were asking Lord Vishnu to come to save them. So you can imagine a mere person whose father was a Brahmin and mother was a demon. He was so very powerful that even demigods were scared of him. And he said that, in fact, those of you who are interested in astrology, he had written one book called Ravan Sangita, which is supposed to be very accurate in astrology. So he was that powerful, such intelligent, and right from childhood days he learned and remembered everything. He had pleased Lord Shiva, and there were many things. So he had so many credits, but for some of his mistakes or some of his sins, he fell down, and that is the realization which Shilpa wants us to know that howsoever powerful we are, that doesn't mean anything. When the right time comes, our pious activities get exhausted, and then we have to leave. Even Bhagavad Gita also it's mentioned that if we have very good activities, we are right now on planet Earth, so we may go to heavenly planets. But when our pious credits or good activities get over, we fall down from those heavenly planets and again we come back to Earth to suffer our reactions. And if we have got bad reactions, instead of going to heavenly planets, we may go to lower planets and suffer even further. And we may not be even coming as human species, but even lower species. So those who are following Vedas strictly or talking about do good, be good, and all those things, they'll achieve those type of activities. But as long as you are associated with our karmas or activities, will be forced to take repeated births and deaths. मत से होता है? Okay. So why do we make this type of mistakes? So basically, we are all under the influence of three activities: in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So these are the activities which force us to believe that we are the doers. It is said that if I'm talking to you and I'm just taking this example, I'm talking to you and I think, oh, I'm doing this. So immediately I start getting karmic reactions. They may be good or bad reactions, but I'm getting entangled by that. But if I'm thinking that okay, I'm doing in Krishna's service or Lord Ram's service, and I hope that it benefits someone, and then I walk away. So I'm safe because I'm not getting any karmic reactions. If you are angry, that is also not coming to me. If you are happy, that is also not coming to me. I'm safe. That's the way how a devotee actually looks at it. So the more we are trying to get entangled, the more we get to troubles. And many of us are wondering like why so many bad things are happening. In fact, in past 1 year, whether we are seeing war or not, but all of us are getting pinched. Like simple thing like milk. Let's say anybody who comes from India realizes, okay, I'm very weak. I need to take something, and let's take milk. And so we start with red milk. So which was costing around 90 cents, now it's costing 1 euro 25 cents. I'm talking just past 6 months it has happened like that. And you think of anything. So this is nothing but a spillover effect of war. War, famine, pestilence, and all these things, there is a particular reason. Similar conditions were happening when Lord Ram took place, when Lord Parshuram took place, or Lord Krishna took place, Varavatar. In fact, any of the Dashavatars, they come only when this stuff starts increasing more and more. And right now, if we are getting more and more trouble, because in fact, yeah, it's funny off the record, but I was just reading one news. Finnair is national airline of Finland, and now because this route to Russia is closed, so they have started suffering losses. So they are taking away champagne from the business class. Okay, we are devotees, so we don't think in champagne. But in economy class also, they'll take away the pillows so that they can do cost cutting. So you see the war, even if you are not participating, all of us are going to suffer in one way or the other. This is reaction. But the minute we start realizing it's all Krishna's pastimes and Krishna will protect, so we'll be safe. In fact, when Second World War was going on, at that time there was bombardment going on, and Shil Prabhupada came out, and people were going for bomb shelters or they were hiding themselves. And Shil Prabhupada saw this, and he was saying, "Wow, this is exactly how Krishna looks when he is giving in his true form." So this is one of the forms. That's the thought process of a devotee. So if there is any question or any comments, I would appreciate, and thank you very much once again, and I apologize for any mistake that might happen. Any questions or any comments? Yes, Madhuri?
Does Lord use this term to kill the Rama or was there some more purpose?
Uh, Mataji's question is that why did Lord Ram come? Just to kill Ravan or he had some other purpose? Well, primary purpose was to because he was answering prayers to his devotees or taking care of Lord Ravan personally himself. So he came for that, but at the same time he was also setting example how an ideal person or ideal purush or ideal man is supposed to behave. Because it's mentioned that those what great people do, others actually follow. So Krishna comes as Dasha to set examples, and at that point in time he came as Lord Ram. So that is the only avatar in which he is displaying all the human qualities. In fact, एक पत्नी व्रत and एक one I was receiving one of the things which came to me that okay, you would shoot only one arrow to kill one person at the right time, and then that will serve his purpose. He had only one wife; he would not go for any other thing. Including his own father had so many wives. Three are the ones which we know, but his father also had many wives, but he still had only one wife. And when wife was gone, he renounced everything and he was doing the vrat and everything, and he had asked his brothers, Bharat, Lakshman, Shatrughan to take care and his own sons, and they were taking care of Raj afterward. But he remained true to that. So basically, he's setting example how an ideal person should behave. Yeah, Ahilyabai is a very good pastime when Indra had associated illegally with Gautam Rishi's wife Ahilya, and he cursed her to become a stone statue. And in fact, if you realize this is the only millennium where after Satyug comes Treta Yuga and then Dwapar Yuga and then Kali Yuga. It is for Ahilya, thanks for pointing it out and for my own verification that this is the only millennium in which Treta comes before Dwapar Yuga because Lord Ram did not want Ahilya Bai to remain a statue of stone for such a long time. So that Yuga itself was changed. Yes. Thank you. Any other question? Yes, Prabhu?
In the beginning of lecture, you mentioned like how someone can imagine like Vishnu has like four forms, like
Yeah.
Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughan.
That's right.
But isn't so like Lakshman was the avatar of Shish?
If you remember, I said he comes as himself, his expansion, expansions, expansion, expansion. So he's coming like that. And within his lifetime, if you realize, he had a fight. He had a fight with Lord Parshuram, who's again Dashavtar only. So two avatars is the only millennium where two avatars are fighting with each other. To set as an example. So as we said that this is again another display of omnipotence, fighting with himself, his own avatar.
Because yeah, maybe because I may be incorrect because as already like Lakshman was the avatar of Shish, and he wished to be an elder. So next time he
You're
was
right.
born as a Balram, elder brother of Shri Krishna.
You're right. You're right about it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because all of her is expansion. Who is actually Anant Shesh? Anant Shesh is again expansion of Vishnu only. Everything comes from Lord Krishna only.
Yeah, everything is expansion in that way.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. But thank you, Ramesh, for pointing it out. Any other question? Well, I was expecting many questions, especially on this. Yes, Ravi.
Thank you for the message. Uh, in connection to the story of Lord Ram, there's always, many times narrated the story of Rishi Sringa. So I kind of
I'm
always
sorry, could you please repeat the name?
Rishi Sringa.
Yeah.
So I always kind of miss the point. What is the connection between these two stories?
Could you relate? I'm not able to recollect the story right now. Could you please tell me what is the past one?
So Lord Ram story, but the Rishi Sringa story is that Ramapad, King Ramapad wanted him to perform a sacrifice because there was a drought in his kingdom,
Yeah.
and that's how that story is usually narrated before the story of Lord Ram. So I always kind of miss what is the connection between these two stories.
Shringi is the one who performed the yajna for by which the Lord Dashrath became father. Is that the story? Is that the story
Yeah,
you're talking about?
probably yes.
Yeah. The thing is that before these sons were born to King Dashrath, he had one daughter who was married to Rishi Shringi. So when he wanted this yajna to perform, he wanted someone who's very well qualified to perform that yajna. So that time he invited Shringi Rishi, who was his son-in-law, to do that yajna, and then he came and he performed that yajna, and then his sons were born. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other questions? Any comments? Yes, Rory?
Why there were different avatars, 10 stars,
Yeah.
and why it is especially we say and we remember Krishna and Rama.
Yeah.
Why we not say Hare Narsimha, like Hare Krishna, Hare Rama? Why we cannot Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Narsimha, and Hare Vaman, like
Okay.
other different forms.
Yeah, well, if you go, there are various temples. In fact, with devotees also, you will find that there are many. In fact, I've came to know about one devotee who's praying to the deities of Varahadev. So they are praying to many other deities. That's not a thing. That's not an uncommon thing. But Krishna is. There is say you heard about that shloka. Krishna to Bhagavan Swayam. Lord Krishna is coming as his own avatar, but he's Krishna himself. He comes as Krishna himself. That's why he is showing all the activities. In Lord Ram, you'll find that he's a Ek Patni, and here you'll find he had 16,108. Like whatever Lord Ram was doing, that is supposed to be ideal. But Lord Krishna is beyond all these laws. So he's the Krishna himself. So that's why we pray to Krishna. And Lord Ram is the prime avatar. And these are the top two avatars if you are talking in context of Dasha avatars. So that's why we pray to these two. In fact, if you know this Lord Nursing prayers, if you go to Toro prayer, then actually Dasha avatar prayers and nursing prayers will take only that pastime of nursing avatar.
But the point was like we only say Hare Krishna, Hare Rama normally
Yeah,
chant.
yes.
But why not Hare Narsimha? Like I don't know.
You are free to say that because anytime you are talking anything which is not abusive, we are talking
Although
about.
it means the same thing, but still for the
So this is empowered, and it is. By the way, this mantra is given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Earlier, it was being Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. But this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized that some people are taking objection, so he did this. And in fact, uh, I was not thinking that you'll be asking, but good you asked, so I'll come to that. Mm, So it is mentioned in Agni Puran, Brahman Puran, Brahma Vaivat Puran, and Kali Santana Upanishad. So it is mentioned that this is the best way if you to say. And as you rightly pointed out, if you chant 1,000 times Lord Vishnu's name, that is equal to chanting one name of Lord Krishna. Sahasra, Vishnu Sahasranam. And if you chant three times Lord Ram's name, it is equal to one time chanting Krishna's name. And that is Sastra injunction. So whatever I say, it's not my imagination or somebody in ISKCON created. These are all coming from Purans.
Isn't it said that Krishna is having the most kalas something? 16 kalas something.
64 characteristics. 64 characteristics. All avatars are having less than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yes. No, but he is specifically asking why I'm chanting only this Mahamantra. So answer to that is yes. And thank you for asking me. I don't know, but when I was preparing for this, I had a because when you are asking me these questions, I was thinking that if I would listen to this, I will be asking these questions. So that's why I was just thinking about it. But thank you for asking me for that question. Any other question? Okay. Thank you.
Hey. श्री गोविंद प्रभु की जय श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय Thank you very much, Sri Govinda Prabhu, for your very nice lecture. Kiitos paljon, Sri Govinda Prabhu.